Hey everybody, welcome back to Veteranbassin. Today we're going to talk about the Prespawn, where the bass go and how to catch them. So as we all know, the bass have been in their winter hunts all winter long. And now comes that time, that confusing time of the Prespawn, especially for us fishermen, because they could be pretty much anywhere, from deep, shallow. They pretty much move throughout. Well, for the Prespawn, the bass are actually feeding up to get ready to spawn, hence the Prespawn. So they are moving from main lake points or very deep up shallow. They're going to be doing that transition up shallow to the spawning ground. So let me get this for you. Forgive my drawing here. The bass have been, well, let me use this finger, have been in the main lake all winter long. They're going to move down into these creeks to the back to the spawning grounds, right? In between that, they're going to be hitting, get a little closer, they're going to move past this main lake point here, and they're going to move and start staging up on these secondary points. That is where you find them. That is where you find them, on the secondary points. Now, let me put that down. Now, there can be a buttload of secondary points going down the creek arm to the spawning ground. So the best way for me to tell you on how to find these bass is if the weather is a little bit cooler during the day, then you want to start from the main lake and work your way back to the spawning flats. Now, if the weather is warmer, you want to start from the spawning flats and work your way back out deep. Now, one other thing that you want to find is a creek channel. The creek channel off of creek channel off of a secondary point. That is prime spots for bass to stage up, because they have access to the deep water if the weather gets bad, but they can still move up and feed. So if you find you a creek channel off of a secondary point, also with a creek channel swing arm against the bank, that will create a bluff wall. That is another area. But if you find all of that, you're in a good spot for bass. Now, again, this video is not going to be very long. I like to keep it short and sweet. So, with that being said, how do you catch them? How do you catch them? Well, like I said before, if it's colder, start deep. If it's warmer, start shallow and work your way back, hitting those secondary points, because that's where they're going to be staging up at. The baits that to use. Number one, an Alabama rig. Alabama rig will work all the way up through the spawn. It'll work all the way through the spawn. It is a catching magnet. Oh, it is a good bait. Now, number two will be a lipless crankbait, also a square bill crankbait, and a deep diver, the crankbait family. Because if they're deep, you can still get them. Now, if they are mid-column, you can also use a mid-diving crankbait or a lipless. And if they're shallow, same thing. You can use a shallow diver or a lipless. Throwing it up shallow and burning it back. Swim baits. Swim baits are another effective tool. Now, if the water is more stained and dirty, then you would want to go with a white swim bait. If you have more visibility, as it's more clear, then you want to go with more of the ghost color with that. Now, the next one is on the finesse side, because on some days you might have to go finesse. You want to go with a jig. A jig. Jig in the black and blue color works great in stained water. Then you have jigs for more clear water, which I would say you want like a PB&J color, green pumpkin, that sort of thing. The trailers, we'll get into the trailers at another time. Rod selection. Rod selection, y'all know I like to keep things on a budget. So I would say for, if you're throwing the Alabama rig, you want to go with a 7.3 to 7.6 heavy, fast action tip. I'm not going to talk about brands. Just know that's your range. Stick within your price range. For pretty much everything else, just about everything else, you go with a 7-foot medium heavy fast action tip. It's more of an all-around rod. We're keeping it budget friendly. Now, me personally, I like to use, especially if I'm cranking, I like to go with a 7-foot medium moderate, because I like that parabolic bend. It keeps the baits pinned a whole lot better. I use, no, I'm not gonna name drop. But I'll let you pick your budget, because I am fishing on a budget, just so I can show you it could be done. Line, I don't fish, me personally, I use a braid the leader on majority of it, except for if I'm throwing an Alabama rig, I go straight fluoro, and I don't go no lighter than 12-pound fluorocarbon. Most time it's going to be 12 pounds and up. For cranking, same thing, 12-pound fluoro, all good. Jig fishing, when I use a jig, then I'll use a braid to leader. I'll probably use a 30-pound braid to a 10-pound fluoro. I'll go that route with my jig. Guys, that's pretty much it as far as, you know, how to find these bass in the Prespawn. Don't forget to like, because it does help. It does help me out, and it's very easy to do. It's free to do. Like the channel, you know, it kind of helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you would like, you know, if you found this information helpful, and comment on anything else that you would like to see. I should be getting out here fishing pretty soon. The weather like it's clearing up. It is kind of moved on by. I'm giving it a little bit of time to let the bass adjust to this weather. Much love to everybody out there. See you out there on the water.